reporter Manoj Gupta gets for us. India is engaging with all stakeholders when it comes to the Israel-Palestine war. India has reasserted on multiple occasions that the focus for India, along with various other regional partners, is to ensure peace and stability. While there's a unilateral support, unequivocal support that we have made to the Israelis, there was also humanitarian aid that was sent to Palestine to ensure that the humanitarian problem or the humanitarian crisis is controlled. Right now, India, as one of the key global players, is engaging with all kinds of stakeholders. Abhishek is back with us on the broadcast. Abhishek, India is engaging with the Middle East, Saudi, Egypt and UAE for a peaceful region.
Well, we have seen U.S. forces amassing a lot of ammunition, and major battleships are also on the way to Mediterranean Sea. And that looks like USA is preparing for something that could happen major in that region. Initially, in the last 10 days or so, multiple attempts have been made by some militias present in the region, which are backed by Iran, as per the USA, who have tried to attack, U.S. positions. And in one of that attack, about 20 U.S. soldiers were also injured. Now, we have also seen some missiles being attacked on the U.S. Around Red Sea, which was also dealt with. Seeing the latest development, USA has 10 patriotic missile and THAAD batteries there. About 900 U.S. troops are on the way. So it looks like there could be some escalation, and countries are preparing themselves for that. Now Israel is dealing with the two-pronged war. One is happening at the southern border with Hamas. Another one unfolding at the northern border with Hezbollah. Hezbollah is well-trained there. They are equipped with modern, artilleries and long-range guided missile, and that could give some trouble to the Israeli forces. But so far, not much has been done from the Hezbollah side. We have seen Israeli army attacking Hezbollah position and, in a way, countering or doing preemptive attack on Hezbollah position. But how this entire situation will unfold, that remains to be seen, because now the regional sympathy is quickly turning towards Palestinian cause because of the massive civilian casualties that the world has seen there. About 7,000 Palestinians. That is the figure given by Gaza authorities, that 7,000 plus Palestinians have been killed in Gaza. And that is a huge casualty that the world is now acknowledging and noticing as a major humanitarian crisis that is emerging in Gaza.
Right. Abhishek, even earlier when we were talking about the strikes that have been done in Syria on Iranian targets, is that an escalation of a conflict that the entire world was worried about? How does this really weave into the broader geopolitical aspects that we've been speaking of?
Well, it's been almost 10 years since the war in Syria has been going on, with al-Assad regime being backed by Russia and Iran. Also, USA has been backing the rebel forces, some Kurdish sometimes. Then we saw in between there was this ISS upsurge, which was also dealt with, sometimes backed by Iran, sometimes backed by USA. But currently, once again, the division is very much clear. There is rebellious forces which are being backed by USA and Israel. Then there is the Assad regime, which is backed by Iran and Russia. So if USA tries to harm directly the Syrian government, then it will clearly not go down well with Russia and Iran. Recently, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov was in Tehran, where he did meet with the local leaders, and foreign ministers of Iran and Turkey and others were also present. So the entire regional conflict is being discussed at a higher level also among the major powers in the world. We have also reported that some of the Chinese battleships are also on the way to Mediterranean Sea. So probably that is also another stakeholder in the entire geopolitical shift that is happening there. We have to see how does U.S. tries to ensure that whatever ships or whatever ammunition it is sending in the region works as only deterrent and doesn't work as an escalatory or instigating force to the other nations present in the region. That is what at least USA side has been saying, that they are sending all these reinforcements to deter any possible full-fledged war and to also strengthen its presence.
All right, Abhishek, can I request you to please stay with us on the broadcast? I'll quickly take our viewers through some more information which is coming in. And this is about the kind of efforts India is making, what are the concerns that India has really taken cognizance of, and we're engaging with all the stakeholders. The fact that we're talking to multiple partners here, including the UAE, the Egyptian authorities, Saudi, UAE, multiple countries. It is in the interest of all these countries, including India, to have a peaceful West Asia, and more importantly, not to have a full-blown war out there. Of course, the conflict has existed ever since the inception of Israel. India is aware that Israel-Palestine is a territorial issue, as I said, a long pending territorial issue ever since the birth of the country called Israel. And a two-nation solution is something that India has historically supported other than the Muslim world. That was a bold position that India took, and India continues to stand with that position that they had taken. India is backing Israel because of the terror attack. There's been a clear narrative that the reason why there's a strong push that has been given to whatever Israel is doing, or an unequivocal support that has come in, because India has taken a strong line when it comes to any form of terror. Not intervening diplomatically or militarily. It's going to be soft diplomatic efforts that India is making at the regional forums, engaging with different partners, ensuring that conversations happen in the right direction to ensure peace and stability. Terror attack by Hamas on Israel is wrong. At the same time, that didn't stop India from sending the humanitarian aid that it did. And Israel has every right to defend its citizen. That's the position that India has taken very, very categorically as far as this entire situation is concerned. But it has been 21 days since Israel-Hamas war broke out. And Israel, of course, decided to respond in full measure, and it said that it's going to conduct ground operations in Gaza Strip. Those ground operations are underway, and the casualty reported from the Gaza Strip is about 7,000. We also saw how there were certain strikes that happened at hospitals that claimed various lives. Israel categorically denied and said this was not a missile, or this was not something that the Israeli Defense Forces did. This was a misfire that happened from the side of Hamas or any other terror elements which are operating from there. But the humanitarian crisis is only mounting. The number of children who are dead, that toll officially has gone to 2,900. The access to basic drinking water, hospitals, facilities, and various other basic civic amenities are not available to the people living in Gaza. It's a densely populated area, both West Bank and Gaza Strip. In fact, the ground offensive which is being conducted by Israel, a lot of residents have been asked to flee the northern parts and push themselves to the southern side. That has been the alert that the Israeli Defense Forces have put out. There are certain targeted killings of the Hamas leaders that were also carried out by the Israeli Defense Forces. But the fact that the civilian casualty has gone up, the death toll is only going up, is a cause for concern. Let's listen into some reactions coming in.
We are raining hellfire on Hamas. We've already killed thousands of terrorists, and this is only the beginning. Simultaneously, we are preparing for a ground invasion. I will not elaborate on when, how, or how many. I will also not elaborate on the various calculations we're making, which the public is mostly unaware of, and that is how things should be.
Australia unequivocally condemns the terrorism of Hamas. We grieve for the loss of every innocent life, whether that be Israeli or Palestinian. In times of crisis, respect for international humanitarian law is paramount. It is a recognition of our common humanity, and I commend the President for his leadership that he has shown in the example that he has set. Today I announce that Australia will provide an additional $15 million in humanitarian assistance for civilians in Gaza. This adds to the $10 million Australia has already committed and will help deliver life-saving assistance such as emergency water and medical services.
My colleague Abhishek continues to be with us on the broadcast. Abhishek, 2,900, more than that children dead in Gaza Strip. The humanitarian crisis is only increasing. What can we expect in the days to come?
Well, the humanitarian crisis is something that has taken the world's attention gradually, and the sympathy that has emerged, that had actually emerged in the wake of terrorist attack on Israel, is quickly shifting towards sympathy towards the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. The world leaders have traveled to Tel Aviv, like President Biden, the Prime Minister Sunak, and the President Emmanuel Macron as well. While they have been trying to discredit the situation and calling for, not going for a full-fledged war, they have also been expressing their concern for the humanitarian crisis that is emerging in Gaza. The world is also sending a lot of aid and assistance for the people of Gaza, but then there are issues at the border points. Only Egyptian border, Al-Rafah, can allow these humanitarian aid to go inside Gaza, and they are doing a lot of back and forth in allowing those humanitarian aid. So the people and the problem of Gaza remains almost the same as it were a week ago, a very little drop in the ocean. That is what the UN officials have said about the number of aid vehicles that were allowed inside Gaza
in the last 2-3 days. But what is the ground offensive that we have seen from the Israeli side in the last 2 days? There were 2 attempts at least from the Israeli forces to enter Gaza. One was in the early hours of Thursday, and after a few hours of being there.